Hello, I'm EnterElysium, and welcome to Hearts of Iron 4 Death or Dishonor DLC and the Oak 1.4 update. Oh, frabjous day, Clue Clay! Hearts of Iron 4 is back on the channel. It's been a little while, hasn't it? But now we're back, ready to do some World War II strategy, and we are going to be playing as one of the nations that has got a bit of an expansion. So, single player, new game. We're starting in 36 because it's the fun time to start. We now have, in addition to a few nations that have got their tree expanded by the Together for Victory DLC, we now have 4 more. Czechoslovakia, the Kingdom of Hungary, the Kingdom of Romania, and Yugoslavia. Basically, these Central European countries now have themselves a wide variety of new things. For instance, they have events, they have effects on them, they have special ideology trees. They're not called ideology trees, I forget. Focus trees, that's the word. And what we can do is we can play as them and play as a small nation trying to survive right next door to Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. We're probably going to be dead fairly shortly, but nonetheless, we're going to give it a go. And who better than to play as Czechoslovakia? The people who were actually pretty much out of the war before it began, considering that the West left them to get annexed by Germany. And actually, even worse, we had a summit where we agreed with Nazi Germany that they could have the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia, and we didn't invite Czechoslovakia to said summit. So, they kind of got, putting it bluntly, kind of got a little bit of a raw deal there. So, we're going to try and rewrite history as Czechoslovakia and try and hold out against the Germans. Now, bear in mind, historically speaking, Czechoslovakia, for a fairly small nation compared to a remilitarized Germany, did a very good job of holding their own. Considering that that's not a great border to defend, they did a great job. In fact, there's an amazing Sabaton song about them. Seriously, one of my favorite Sabaton songs. But anyway, we're going to dive in. I'm going to start the game. We have a democratic mandate to begin with. We have elections in 1940. We've got 2 effects in play. The Skoda works. Factory output plus 10%, because surprisingly, Czechoslovakia's got a pretty good military. And one of the things that Germany did when they took them over was go, yeah, we're making tanks with your industry. That's really useful. We also have divided nation. Czechoslovakia. Czech and Slovakia. Kind of a little bit fraught with difficulties there. National unity minus 20%. Recruitable population 0.5% less. Consumer good factories 2%. It's not great, but we can reverse that using the focus tree. So, I'm going to dive in. Yeah, still fine. Put all the normal things on. Historical AI focuses. Ooh. Do we want to turn that off? You know what? We'll keep it on for the moment. We'll try and do an alternate history where we try and alter history, but generally the AI is going to stick to its AI focuses, I guess. For now. Maybe the next playthrough we play with this off. I normally play with this off to try and see what wacky things can happen. But I think the fun part about this playthrough is going to be seeing if Czechoslovakia can hold against Germany, and if we can maybe rewrite history without history just going crazy around us, which does tend to happen when you turn that off, because, you know, France will turn fascist, United Kingdom will turn communist, Soviet Union will become a democratic state. Weird things will happen. So let's initialize, and beware the Jabberwock, my son! Let's begin. Righto. So, what do we have here? 22 divisions. Not a bad starting force. Not great, but not bad. We will chuck them in a division. We will put a person in charge. What do we have here? Winter Specialist. Oh, my sweet Winter Specialist. Winter attrition minus 50%. Armored speed, armored division attack. Yeah, I have no armor, so no. Although you have an eye patch, which is like positive points on the cool scale. What about you? Planning speed, 10%. Own combat width, minus 10%. Oh, that's not great. What about you? Thorough planning, max planning. Max planning. General extraordinaire. I'm going to call you max planning from now on, Joseph. And defensive doctrine, max entrenchment plus 30%. That's going to be great. holding up the Germans, increased entrenchment is going to be really useful. So, you're in. Also, you know, you're a field marshal, so you're not limited to the 24 divisions. Front line, Germany. I'm going to ignore my other borders for now. We'll have to come back to that, but for now we're going to ignore them. And we'll tell you to start exercising. Right, research slots. As always with a PDX game, you start off the game on pause and you spend about 10 minutes there if you're fast. Possibly 30 minutes if you're not. We'll grab electronic and mechanical engineering for the research time decrease, which is tasty. We will also then grab basic machine tools for the production efficiency cap. And construction 1 for the construction speed and factory repair speed buff. With our civilian factories, we will make more civilian factories, which 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 will eventually make military factories, and maybe convert some as well. I guess civilian factories should go near here, because if the Germans do start taking territory from us, we'll want to lose the civilian factories, but keep our military factories. Because if they come through this area, we're done for. In fact, we have some pretty nice defenses up here. Czechoslovakia was kind of aware that Germany was out to kill them and had kind of studied the Maginot Line. And so we do start off with a little bit of fortifications around here. Just one currently, but it does go up with other focuses. So build me up, Buttercup. Don't say a word. There we go. You know what? We'll just fill them all up. There we go. All civilian factories for now. We'll maybe change that if we need to as time goes on. We only have a few. Look at that, like 8. Ugh. You gotta do what you gotta do. 8 consumer factories. Oof. Right, what about 3 military factories? We'll want to start stockpiling artillery. Nine out of 9. That's about as far as we're going to get. Maybe less infantry equipment. There we go. Okay. We need to import material. Tungsten and aluminium? Oh, that's going to be expensive. Because that's going to take away another civilian factory that we desperately need. Okay, maybe we can't afford to do artillery just yet. Soon, but not yet. We're going to need aluminium. Let's look at the resources on the map. Hungary actually has a load of aluminium just over the border. Germany, of course, resource rich. If we can get in there, we're great. We're golden. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to go for any early attacks. We can't really afford to, especially because we know Germany's going to attack us. Historically, of course, that was, what, 1938 was the invasion of Czechoslovakia? At least the initial invasion. We can't really afford to do anything crazy. We don't have the military power for it. We're going to have to focus on defense, so we can't really try and grab something in the early game. Especially as a democratic country. It's basically impossible. So, we'll dump this towed artillery for now. Instead, we'll focus on getting some stockpiles of this. Because I can't afford to devote too many civilian factories to getting ourselves some extra stuff. Right. What about a national focus tree? Oh, we've got everything. Okay, cool. Right. So, our national focus tree. We've fortification studies. This focuses on basically fortifying the Sudetenland. There are some things like the fallback lines, internal redoubts, basically backing that up, but it's mostly about defending the Sudetenland, which is the border we have with Nazi Germany. You can also then get the Hungarian line, Sudetenland final fortifications, which raises them from a 5 to a 7. There's the Polish line, in case you're ready to be defended from Poland. Industrial Legacy grants the National Spirit Industrial Legacy, which grants civilian to military factory conversion speed and a civilian factory construction speed buff. Only 5% though. I'm not really massively into the civilian to military factory conversion speed at this point in the game, but we can consider it. There's also, you know, Czech industry, which is better for you because it gives you more build slots, more civilian factories. But there's the Czechoslovak industry, where instead of ignoring Slovakia, you go, you know what, we'll modernize, we'll industrialize equally, rather than just focusing on Czech. So here, we get less building slots, less civilian factories. Notice that over here we get 2 and 2, and... Oh, sorry, 2 and 1, because we get the building slot, we also get the factory. 2 and 1, whereas here we get 1 and 1. 2 and 1, 1 and 1. 2 and 1, 1 and 1. But modify divided nations, consumer goods factories goes down. And then united population. We get rid of divided nation, which is the minus 20% national unity, the 0.5 population reduction for recruitable, and also 2%, which is now down to 1%, consumer goods factories. This is going to be useful. So if you're looking for a short-term buff, Czech industry is the way to go. If you're looking for a more long-term play, Czech-Slovak industry. And I'm kind of torn about what I should pick. Obviously, if I really want the short-term, which I've been talking about, fighting off Germany is short-term, this would be the way to go. However, this is a slightly more long-term premise behind it. Political direction, we could go left, we could go right, we could go Democratic Bastion. If we go left, that's going to be fun, because there's not many communists around here. If we go right, we can maybe join with Germany. However, we're actually going to play a historical one. Because I rarely do this, and I rarely play Democratic, and a lot of people shout at me going, you should play Democratic! And oftentimes when you're doing a non-historical playthrough, that's kind of boring, because you just end up being reactive and waiting. However, we know, because we've got historical AI focuses on, that it is incredibly likely that we're going to be attacked by Germany. And, you know, Czechoslovakia kind of knew that, so it's not like we have any foresight. Czechoslovakia knew that going into, you know, the period before the Second World War. So we can go down Democratic Bastion, try and make friends with the West, and hope they don't forget about us. And sell us out, which historically they did. And if we can get them to come to our aid, we might be able to survive. Maybe. Strategic decisions, trust in the West. That seems really useful. German appeasement. An entente of our own, where you make friends with Yugoslavia, Romania, etc. Czech Legion. Others send foreign expeditions. It's not really going to be worth our while. Military technology, military technology, military technology. This one requires access to the sea, which is why it's called access to the sea. You need a coastal state. We're going to ignore these two for now, as my policy in Hearts of Iron 4 tends to be to ignore this until we desperately need it. And then I play catch-up, because I like to have the setup going in. So, we have fortifications to study. Useful. Recruitable population does increase. Landfall construction speed increases. Not that we have time to do that. We're going to be focusing on getting them from the events. Strategic decisions. Political direction. Industrial legacy. I think this is where we've got to focus ourselves. Industrial legacy early. Really useful. Speeds up building those factories, and we need to increase our industry. We need to modernize. We need to be able to bring our war machine up to the point where we can fight off Nazi Germany, who of course is a much bigger nation with a lot more supplies, access to the sea to get more supplies in, a much bigger army. They're going to have an air force that's going to crush us. And they're already kind of industrialized ahead of us. And we're smaller. So we kind of need everything we can get in this corner. So the industrial legacy is going to be really useful. Political direction takes us down to here, which gives us political power, more political power, more political power. We get daily democracy support increases, ideology drift defense increases, beacon of liberty. You need a certain amount of support for your Democratic Party for this, so we've got to focus on that. Division defense on core territory increases. Research time decreases. Both of those are very useful, especially for fighting on defense. Defensive preparations. Our conscription law changes without us having to pay for it to extensive conscription. This is going to be very useful for us, because it means we don't have to pay to increase our conscription. I think that's 2 above what we're currently on, because I think it goes voluntary, which we're on, conscription, extensive conscription. So that's like 300 power, because it's 150 increase per tier. So that will save us 300 political power if we go down here. Of course, there's a research slot here to be gained, which is pretty cool. Research slot here, trust in the West, doctrinal innovation. That needs a certain amount of factories, though. I think the early players to go Industrial Legacy And here's the thing. If we don't get the West support focuses quick enough and Germany declares on us, the West won't support us. So we need to make sure we get those focuses. Right. Low manpower. Well, we can't really help that. Let's start. And we're going to go 5 times speed to begin with. Yeah. Now, we can't really afford to recruit anyone because we've got no manpower. We've also got very limited supplies. You're all training. Keep it up. Oh, they've also got new models, by the way. If you've got the DLC, you get Czech models. And also, you'll notice that some of the, like, incident dialogue is Czech. There we go. Are you... No? Still going? Okay, keep training. You got this. There we go. Some of them are starting to get veterancy. It's just regular veterancy, but I'll take it. It's also giving us a little bit of army experience, which is really useful, because we're going to try and use that to get some artillery. When we can afford artillery. Right, remilitarization of the Rhineland. That is worrying. Germany has remilitarized the Rhineland already. Now, this is probably the point where we've got to make a decision about the Czechoslovak industry. Or the Czech industry. And if we're playing the short term, we definitely want to go down this route. Plus 3 civilian factories when we've only got, what is it, like 16 right now? Let's just check. How many civilian factories do we actually have? 16. We've got +1 from exports. Ah! That's cool. But it still means that we're going to have some real issues here. So we've got, what, 17 in total? We could use the extra 3. That's a big increase. It's 20% increase to our number of factories altogether. Roughly 20%. However, this does give United population, which does give us a population boost, and we might need that. Fighting off Germany is going to be expensive on the population. Two civilian factories is going to be important as opposed to 3. Sorry, this is 3, not 2. I think we grab this, and then we start going down the other routes, but we've got to grab that for the extra factories. Because, remember, it's a logarithmic scale. If you're using factories to build factories, which you're using to build factories, which you're using to build factories, the increase is, not a logarithm, sorry, exponential. It's an exponential scale. Because 2 factories build 2 factories. That's 4 factories who can build 4 factories. That's 8 factories who can build 8 factories. It doesn't exactly work like that. The maths is not that, but it's the same calculation with different numbers in it. So it's a different the point being, it's relatively the same in terms of algebra. Right, we'll grab mechanical computing, more research time buffs. Not really a short-term plan, going for research buffs that will take me almost a year to complete, but whatever. Now, one of the big additions, by the way, for this game, in the DLC, I think it's the DLC, it might be the base update, is that you can request license production. And you can basically be like, look, I don't have the technology for motorized. Will you give me it? And they won't. And you can license production. Now, you do produce it slower, but it does mean you don't have to research it. You also get a bonus to researching it if you're actually currently licensing it, because I guess you steal their plans. They currently won't do this because they have no real opinion of me. They're like, and why should I support you? You're just a random Central European country. That's fine. I mean, it will cost us civilian factories to do, so I don't want to do it right now. But it's a way to do something and to research it. So we can ignore certain things in the tech tree if we really want, because we've got other priorities, and we can license them later. Now, can we afford to do that with our low number of civilian factories? Maybe. We'll see about that when the time comes, but I'm just making you aware if we start going down some weird tech routes traditionally. You should probably stop practicing. I know you're getting me army experience, which is all fine and dandy, but you're also costing me stuff. Are you still training? What? You're still... not... okay. Italy has annexed Ethiopia. Fair enough. I don't have to worry about that. I'm landlocked in the middle of Europe. One of the reasons I really want to play Czechoslovakia is because I don't want to have to worry about the sea game. There's our industry, Czechoslovak industry, lovely. Right, political direction or strategic decisions. Trust in the West. They gain opinion. Okay. Total erection. Democratic Bastion. Beacon Liberty. I think we go trust in the West. It's just trust, though. We need to get this so we can start increasing our democracy support, so that we can get this, which requires democracy support. Okay. Let's go political direction. I'm normally really leery of picking those sort of things up early, but we need to. Concentrated or dispersed industry. Dispersed industry is more protected versus bombing, and don't get me wrong, we're going to be bombed. We're right next to Nazi Germany. They're basically going to lob hand grenades over the border. And it also gives you a bonus to, if you switch between production tracks, you get to retain a certain amount. However, concentrated industry is just more effective flat out. Notice that the factory output's 5% higher. Next factories in the state, I think, is twice the increase? No, it's still... Okay. It's just factory output 5%. Oh. Have they changed this? It used to be far better. I don't know if it's still far better. I still think we need the flat-out factory boost. We need to sprint this opening. And that will help. How are we doing on that? Factory coming up later this year. About a month's time. Right, modified government. Okay. One of the things we want to change early is a civilian economy. We need those extra factories that are currently locked down producing toasters. Or fridges, or whatever the... They're probably producing Skodas, let's be honest. We can't do it, though, because we're not fascist or communist. Know anything about playing as a democracy. Democracies suck. Actually, today I'm feeling rather good about democracies. But we need to just keep an eye out for this, because as soon as this changes, we'll want it. 5%, we're not there. We probably won't be there for a little while, but, you know, I could be wrong. Other things that we could get. Army buffs, etc. Military theorist, which gives us land experience gain, also land doctrine research time decrease. That's pretty nice. Air warfare, we're not going to be able to have the industry to produce many planes. We're going to have to focus on our land. Equipment and stuff, maybe, but we're not quite there yet. Backroom backstabber. Prince of Terror. Non-core manpower. I think this has been added to Prince of Terror. I don't remember this initially. But a plus 2% buff to non-core manpower is very nice. And basically makes you a must-have for anyone who's actually going to play an expanding country. Which, you know, hell, I'd like to get something from the peace deal. I would like to use you. Quarter Minister General, no. Democratic Reformer, daily democracy support. That might be useful. Free trade, no, we need our exports. I mean, our imports. If we get rid of more of them, we won't be able to afford our economy. We're not changing our conscription level because we've got an event that does that later on. Focus tree thing, not an event, I guess. I guess that leaves us with, do we want to get a Gret? Yes, we can Gret. We can Gret electric research time decrease or industrial. We're going to go industrial because there's more of them, in my opinion. We're going to be wanting those more as well. And we're currently researching them. I think on 2 tracks. Yeah. And that'll make this go a lot quicker. What, that was like 225 days or something? Or no, that's 225 days. You were like 180 or something. So the buff's nice. Spanish Civil War. Hello. National Spain declared war on Spain. It's all kicking off. Only 4%. More tension though. Right. Construction is done. You're ahead of time. Excavation with the resources would be nice, but it's only 10%. That doesn't actually solve any of my problems right now. Definitely going to consider it in future, but I think we'll have to start thinking about either going for a land doctrine. By the way, I mouse over mobile warfare doctrine because if we can take Germany, we'll have control of some pretty prime real estate. Right next door is a large part of Germany, which is quite industrialized. Now, bear in mind that involves us saying if we can take them. That's going to be a fun one. We'll see. Max entrenchment would be nice. Entrenchment speed is neither here nor there, really, because we'll have entrenched along the border for a very long time. Max planning, yeah, useful. Defense, nice. Organization, nice. Breakthrough, soft attack. Like, this is a traditional grand battle plan doctrine tree, and I'm normally very wary of picking this one up because it's the typical one. And it's kind of boring, but we might need to do it. Like, it's got nothing special to write home about. It's like the one I actually get least. In fact, I'm not even sure if I've ever picked it up, apart from maybe the one time I didn't change it from the very first playthrough on YouTube. Superior firepower is great, especially because I like the artillery. Artillery is really powerful. Mobile warfare, I nearly always get this one because it buffs my industry if I've got an industry. Well, it buffs the output of my industry, i.e. tanks and stuff. Stuff that's really industry dependent. And also gives you a lot of extra population down here. Look at that, that's an extra 5% there. However, we're probably going to have to go Grand Battle Plan, because I don't know if we'll actually make it to here in the tree before we're crushed. I think we will know the result of the Germany fight before we make it to here. And this is defense, and we need it. This is buffs to tanks and stuff, but we're not going to be able to produce a tank until we already have control of part of Germany. So Grand Battle Plan would be the way to go. There's a buff to artillery there. It doesn't involve changing any of our equipment, so we'll pick that up later on. Tanks, we can't change our tanks until 39, which is a while away. Luckily, we do actually have a 1936 tank, which is pretty useful if we can produce it. We can't. Engineering company. This we'll want, and this we'll want to add to all of our units because it'll allow them to entrench better. If we have a quick look, blah, 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 blah. Entrenchment 5. There we go. We'll also want to pick up a field hospital, protect our pretty mediocre population. It's not great. That, however, does mean getting a hold of motorized infantry. And now it's a problem, because while we can license that, it wouldn't allow us to get the tech. Because we'd have to go through it to get to the tech down here. And that's an issue for us. Of course, we want to get support weapons as well. I guess we will start with picking up a land doctrine, because it's going to take a while. Trench warfare, let's do it. Now, bear in mind that Oak, the update, not the DLC, changes how airfields work. So look at this. If I click an airfield, we now have a range that they can attack in. And look, you can see units. Vertical direction, thank you. Look at those. Bomber, fighter. What are you, close air support? Yeah. Still getting used to the icons. And you can click, and you can be like, go here, go here, go here. I'm not going to tell them to do anything, because they'll get themselves killed by just flying around and being like, ha ha ha, look at me, I can do a barrel roll. No, don't! That's what I assume they do when they just suffer attrition rates because they're flying. Political direction, got that. Right, let's grip Democratic Bastion, which gives us the buff to ideology, particularly democracy. Modify government. Oh, more than 5% more tension, what are we on? 5. So close, okay. I guess military theorist? Land doctrine research time decrease, but it also gives us army experience per day. We can stockpile that. Sure. We're doing a doctrine at the moment, so that'll be useful. Also, democratic reform would also be useful. It would help buff the democracy buffing, which we need to be able to get on the good side of you up here. Germany just held the Olympics. We are worried, but not scared. We are resolute. We are Czech. Or Slovak. We're Czechoslovakian. Hell, we're pushing towards integration, so, you know, all for one, one for all. Hi, we're Germany. Well, sorry, that's not the German. I mean, I don't even have a German accent. My accent's more Swiss, vaguely Austrian. It's not either, but it's closer than it is German, but, well, we are just over here, taking a little bit of a walk. Don't find us. So, look, we can see your house. We're sure something was to happen to it, yeah? Right, we've got Democratic Bastion. Can't get Beacon of Liberty. We could get Strategic Decision. But for now, I'm actually going to start picking up fortification studies because we need this. It gives us a buff to recruit more population, which is going to be very helpful. But also after that, we can start buffing our fortifications from 1 to 3 to 5 and eventually 7. And we are going to need that. We most certainly are going to need that. And I think it also extends it down on the Austrian border as well. We'll have to see. Right, concentrated industry. Let's have a quick look. I think it does. Right. Research slots available. Point a little bit ahead. Sure, let's get next concentrated industry. Oh, no, actually, do we want concentrated industry? Or do we want construction? We want the construction buff. Let's do it. Only a little bit ahead of time, so it's totally worth getting it. We've got a lot of political power right now, so what we'll do is we will... well, tension's decreased again. We will grab... Little power gain plus 5%. You're only really worth it if you pick them up really early and have them for a very long time. Because plus 5% takes a long time to get back to here. In fact, we earn, like what? We earn 2 political power, base value, per month. Well, per day, sorry. If we get 5% back on that, we're looking at, what, 0.1? We're looking at 1,500 days to make our power back. So we're looking at roughly 4 to 5 years. Since I don't have any other options now, though, we're going to do it. Gives us an ideology drift defense, but the AI doesn't really tend to try and influence your ideology very much. They tend to be much more blatant, like, I want to crush you by stamping on your head. So we'll also get a democratic reformer, and we'll start swinging our democratic ways over. Now bear in mind, we've got to be a little bit worried, because Germany is coming for us shortly. Like, we are one of the first people they come and crush. Next, we will pick up concentrated industry. Bear in mind, we're still not making any artillery or anything. We're kind of propping up our supplies. We're going to need these supplies. My god, we're going to need supplies. Like, you go through weapons very, very fast. Fortification study. Excellent. No, it hasn't extended down here. I think we have to wait for maybe Anschluss, and then because it's the German border, it'll start building forts down here. We'll have to see. Oh, that one doesn't build one. This one does. Yeah, sure. We'll grab this one next, which is Sudetenland early fortifications. Go. Oh, that said, maybe we should go industry. Well, it's a bit late now. The other choice would be to grab more civilian factories. Plus 2 civilian factories would be really nice, but hey-ho. We'll have to start adding things to our army soon. Luckily, we do have a bit of army experience from all of our training, which we should probably stop. Wait, are you not? You're still training? Dear Lord. I thought you'd have been there already. Okay. Come on. There we go. You can stop training now. There we go. Start entrenching. Beautiful. Alright, modified government. What do we want to do here? Get a political advisor. I mean, honestly, all we want here is maybe Quartermaster or Prince of Terror, because those are the only ones that are applicable. That, In future, don't get me wrong, great. Non-com manpower is very useful, but right now, Quartermaster General, I'm not building any of those. Certainly not right now. So I guess we're looking at just adding a randomer. Logistics, less attrition, maybe? Recovery rate? We'll want both of those in future. Material designer? Infantry equipment research time decrease? Sure, that seems like a sensible idea. We'll grab you. Because soon enough we will want to be upgrading our weapons and equipment. However, I think this is probably a good place to leave it for this episode. We've been going through this at some pace. We're a year in, although, you know, nothing's really changed on the map. But we are expecting Germany in about a year. So, life comes at you fast. And we'll have to hold out. The question is, will the Allies come to our aid? That's the big question mark right now. I really hope so. Because if we can hold until Germany then declares on Poland, Germany will effectively be surrounded, almost. And we might have a chance. Like the video, let me know down below what you think so far of my tactic. Let me know any cool historical facts about Czechoslovakia in World War II, because my knowledge there is definitely lacking. I know that they did an amazing job of holding out for quite a long time, considering they're a fairly small nation. But I don't know any specifics, so yeah, if people really want to let me know some really cool facts and stuff down below, go for it. Or, you know, if you've got a favourite Sabaton track, just always add that to the description. It's always really good. Sadly, I can't play Sabaton tracks because Content ID, but I totally would. I've been EnterElysium. Let me know that stuff down below. Also, let me know if you're interested in the DLC and whatever. This DLC comes out in a few days' time. And, of course, the update, which is going to be all kinds of fun because, oh my god, air units are made so much easier. But until next time, I've been EnterElysium. Consider subscribing if you're not, and stay shiny.